Good lord. Between cleaning up at the pub and showing Gratian around town, there goes most of my day. The brothel's probably open by now. Through the back entrance, it is. Hey, anyone home? Oh boy. No one? Not even the girl? Don't tell me she went out wandering in her condition.
Oh, hey there, Jacopo. Perfect time. Mm.
Maria, the girl! Where'd she go?
Huh? She was here last I checked.
Last you checked?
One moment.
You're supposed to be looking after her!
Uh...
Anyway, help me look for her.
Yeah, I don't think that'll,
Excuse me?
Excuse me. Turn around.
Where have you been? I didn't even sense her approaching. I swear, she just appeared there, like a ghost. And where did you get those clothes?
Oh yeah, we were digging around in the dressing room and found it there. I wanted to get her into something a little cuter, but she insisted on that. I didn't even know we had clothes that bland here. Those come and go though, so it probably belonged to someone who's not around anymore. Still, I'm shocked anyone who worked here ever wore such a boner killer.
It's a cloak for pilgrimages.
Huh?
An outfit someone wears while on a pilgrimage. This is far, far more beautiful than any of those filthy whore rags.
Oh, a pilgrimage, huh? I never would have guessed we had a girl who was into that.
Yet she abandoned her spiritual journey and entered into this den of sinners.
I guess?
Nevertheless, I am glad there was clothing suitable for me to wear.
Yeah, talk about luck. Anyway, I've got an appointment. I'll be back.
What? Hey, Maria! I get that she's difficult, but you didn't have to ditch me, damn it. It is a rather, plain outfit, though. All black and brown. She'd probably blend in quite well with the darkness. which would explain why I couldn't find her when I got here.
Why are you staring at me?
Well, I'm glad that you found something you could wear with your, brooch. Also, God, keeping a conversation going with her is like pulling teeth. Yeah, you look like you're doing a lot better than yesterday. Much more color in your cheeks.
As if you can tell the difference beneath all these scars.
It's an expression. I'm just saying you look much better. You could barely even sit up yesterday. You're recovering impressively quickly. I imagine it won't be long before you're back at full capacity.
Yesterday,
What about yesterday?
thank you for rescuing me.
What? Right. That. No, don't mention it. It was nothing, really.
That's not what you said last night.
Oh, come on. Just let me be humble, will you? Anyway, I wasn't expecting that. I was readying myself for another argument. I also wasn't sure how much of what happened you even remembered, with how hysterical you got.
I was not hysterical.
My arm begs to...
My mind was clear almost the whole time. I remember everything. First, a slave. You saved my life from the wicked lord.
I'm not actually a slave, but details.
You took me by the arm, put me on your back, and fled from the lord's manor.
That I did.
I was a little hazy for some of the trip, but by the time you reached the poor quarter, my mind had cleared up almost entirely.
What?
My consciousness had returned by that point.
Oh?
You brought me to this brothel, and yes, at first I was frightened, because I believed you meant to have me become a whore. But that is the one and only instance of me last night that you could describe as hysterical. I remember everything quite well, thank you.
Okay then. Fair enough. You're right. I can't tell if she's sincere or just trying to convince herself. But she seems unusually repulsed by the idea of losing her cool. She's not entirely right, but she's not entirely wrong either, so I'll let her have this one. In any event, you've recovered well enough to hold a conversation, which is great to see.
What? What do you mean to do with me now?
Better question, what do you want to do? Alright, well... Well, here's an idea. If you don't have anything, you can stay here until you're all the way back on your feet. Maria's already set aside that room for you.
You want me to stay in this vile gathering place of sinners?
You do realize who you're talking about, right? Those vile sinners are the ones who took you in, who agreed to look after you. They're no different than you or me, just doing what they must to get by.
I'm not like them.
You're right. They don't look down on others for their line of work. At the very least, try to keep your callous prejudice against prostitutes to yourself when they're around, would you?
Why? It is my sacred duty to spread the word of God. Indulging in carnal pleasure is a sin, no matter the reason.
Well, you know, Jesus, Mary Magdalene.
Prostitutes are filthy, tainted women.
Jeez, did all the blood the Lord took cause your damn heart to shrivel up? In what world is it reasonable for you to go up to women offering you sanctuary and call them, to their faces, sinners? Show them some gratitude, damn it!
You're the one who brought me here. I never asked them to do anything for me.
Oh, fine. Whatever. If you're that opposed to staying here, then go. Get the hell out. You don't deserve their hospitality. Go off and preach the word of God and call everyone sinners. I expect someone will find you dead on the side of the road in less than a fortnight.
Very well. Thank you for yesterday. And farewell.
Wait! Wait.
Yes?
Are you insane? You're not supposed to actually go.
You're the one who told me to leave.
Off to a great start with that 3 years of ice breaking, Jacopo. She's been through hell, you know that. I'm sorry. I take everything back. That was extremely childish of me. So, please, reconsider. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I chased you out.
You cannot seem to make up your mind, can you?
It was a heat-of-the-moment thing. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I don't actually want you to leave. Good Lord. Oh, right. The ointment. Did you apply it like I told you to?
No.
Really? Well, in that case, I'll do it now. You need help with your back either way.
You're a very curious man.
Huh? Why do you say that?
No reason. I'm simply saying the first thing that came to mind.
Don't tell me you think I have unscrupulous tastes like Maria seems to believe.
Hmm?
Let me make this perfectly clear. I will not lay a finger on you. You're just a child, for God's sake. Now, sit down. Oh, look at that. I thought I'd have to fight her on this.
Is something the matter?
I never told you to undress.
Were you wanting to apply the ointment to my clothes then?
Good point. That wouldn't help much, would it? God damn it, Jacopo. Calm the hell down. Or are you just trying to make yourself look like a liar? She caught me off guard, that's all. The girl quietly disrobed, then knelt down. She had been naked when I saved her from the Lord, so it wasn't like this was my first time seeing her unclothed. But that was in the middle of a revolt. I didn't exactly have time to get a good look. She was almost frighteningly scrawny, her arms barely bigger than the bones within. Her skin was so pale I could see the blue veins running beneath it. And then, of course, there was the crisscrossing web of scars. Each one stood out clearly against her pale skin. The scars covered her whole body, front and back. I could hardly find a patch of skin that hadn't been desecrated. Looking at her, I was gripped with a mix of burning rage and bitter sadness, neither of which I had a source of relief for. But the most upsetting thing was how she just sat there, exposed, completely emotionless. Quite a change from how she behaved last night. Today, I'm the one doing all the shouting. It almost feels like I'm looking at a lifeless puppet. I scooped up some of the ointment with my fingers and gently rubbed it across her wounded flesh. Every time my hand made contact, she shuddered, but she never recoiled or objected. Though it felt less like she was willingly accepting my aid, and more like she was simply enduring, waiting for it to be over. It was almost silent in the room, save for the cries and moaning that made its way through the walls. Sitting naked in a brothel while a strange man rubbed medicine on her, I could only imagine how unpleasant that must be, considering how devout she seemed to be. She was probably doing everything in her power to cut herself off from the whole experience. I wondered if, perhaps, she might one day come to realize that we were not trying to insult or demean her, and that we were simply concerned for her, that we wanted to give her a place she could feel safe. So, is this all the Lord's doing? You don't have to answer that if you're not comfortable.
Except for my arms, yes.
Someone else did your arms then?
No, I cut them myself.
I thought suicide was a sin? Is self-mutilation allowed then? I'm not sure what the rules on that are. You have a lot to live for. And that was about the extent of our conversation as I applied the ointment. I couldn't come up with any small talk, and I didn't really want to press any further about her scars or her time with the Lord. So I quietly worked, and she quietly let me do my work. By the time it was all over, I was exhausted. It felt like it had taken more out of me than the couple hours I had spent dragging unconscious drunks from the pub. When I told her I was finished, she let out a sigh of relief. The first sign of emotion I had seen from her since we began.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. We're not done. Still have to take care of your, face.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I beg to differ. If anything, you should be most concerned about your face. Now, come on. Look at me.
Do I have to?
Well, yeah. It'd be kind of silly to do everything but your face.
I can do it myself.
Sure. Yeah, not happening. I'm going to finish what I started.
Why can't I do it myself?
Because my gut tells me you'll just slap a little on and call it done. I want to make sure your skin's taken care of properly. So look at me. Show me your face.
Fine.
It was bizarre how she had so little hesitation exposing her naked body, yet vehemently resisted letting me see her face. With anyone else I knew, it would have been the other way around. The wounds on her face seemed to hold much more significance to her than those on the rest of her body. When she asked me to kill her yesterday, it was immediately after seeing herself in the mirror. But if the marks on her face were that upsetting, wouldn't she want them to heal? Why was she fighting me about it? Did she have some other reason to hide her face from me? Whatever it was that drove her actions, I couldn't make any sense of it. Let me know if it stings. Relax. I won't bite. You weren't this tense when I was applying the ointment on the rest of you.
Just get it over with.
All right, all right. You know, I just realized I don't know your name. Would you mind telling me? No? You won't tell me? Well, in that case, I'll just have to come up with something to call you myself. I'm serious. I'll pick the first thing that comes to mind. There's still time. You just have to tell me your name. Okay then. You had your chance. Allison it is, because you bite just like an alley cat. I'll tell the girls here to call you that too.
Please don't.
Oh, finally, you speak. If you're not happy with the name, just tell me who to call you. You have until the count of 3, and then you're Allison for good. 1, 2, 3. isn't your whole name, is it? Huh. So you're, I can understand being a little embarrassed about that. It's not my place to talk. I know, and I won't mean any ill will, but that's a very, unfortunate name you were given.
That's not my name. It's Morgana.
Now, that wasn't so hard, was it? It's a nice name. Morgana. I like it. Also, it reminds me of my homeland.
Your homeland?
Yeah. I mean, I hardly remember anything about my childhood anymore. I couldn't even tell you the name of my country. But I have these vague memories of how the language sounded. And your name, it doesn't sound like a name native to these parts. It sounds like something that would fit right in with those memories of my homeland. I'd wager a guess you probably come from the same part of the world as me. If you go back far enough, you might even find we share ancestors. But who knows? How do you like that? Feeling a little sense of kinship?
The thought very much displeases me.
Well, okay then. Be a grouch. I'll let it slide, though. Getting your name out of you put me in a good mood. It's nice to formally make your acquaintance, Morgana. My name's Jacopo. Hey, Morgana? One day, I'll show you the world.
What?
There's so much more out there than this tiny little corner of Earth we're rotting away in. More than you can possibly imagine. I'm going to go out into the world, experience true freedom. And I'm going to bring you with me. So, try to stay positive. Once you see for yourself how much bigger the world is out there, how different every region is and its people are, it might change your perspective on things a bit. It might even help you forget some of the crap you've been through. Alright, now I'm done. That ended up taking pretty much all the ointment. I'll have to go buy some more. Well, I should probably get going. Will you be alright on your own?
I would much prefer it, in fact.
Alright. Sorry to be such a nuisance. See you again tomorrow.
My whole body is all slimy. After the slave man left, I retreated to a corner of the room, sat down, and pulled my knees up to my chest. Through the walls, I could hear men and women sinning, so I plugged my ears in an attempt to block out the vile noise. It was filthy here, and if I remained in this place too long, it would probably taint my soul. I needed to get out as soon as possible, but I couldn't bring myself to leave. My body refused to cooperate. Just thinking about going out there into the slums, all alone, sent uncomfortable tremors down my spine. I was the daughter of God. What did I have to fear? Such worldly emotions were unbefitting of a saint. I was pitiful, pathetic, and I hated it. I have nothing to fear. God will always lead his saint to where he needs her most. And as long as I continue performing miracles, people will acknowledge me as the true daughter of God. I have nothing to fear.
Duck?
You're a damned witch wearing a saint's skin.
Will they, though? Will anyone look at me and see a saint? I can hardly see a saint in this face. The Lord and his guests, with their revulsion, their fear, that was the appropriate reaction. I was repulsive. Not something to be welcomed with open arms. Saints and angels were always spoken of as beautiful, while demons and witches were spoken of as hideous. Any miracles I performed would be seen as the work of the devil, not God. But it didn't matter. It was my sacred duty to offer a helping hand to anyone in need, no matter how much persecution I suffered for it. My heart was resolute. But my head, it's all muddled. I can't stand this.
One day, I'll show you the world.
And thinking about the slave man only made an even bigger mess inside my head. It wasn't all unpleasant, though. He didn't push me away because of how I looked. He treated me like an ordinary girl. Not a witch. And not a saint either. And besides, I was being disrespectful. I know that. He was well within his rights to be angry. He could have let me go, but he didn't. He got angry, but he told me to stay. Put ointment on me. Smiled even. A very curious man indeed. And then there was what he had said about his homeland. Just because my name reminded him of where he came from, didn't mean I came from there as well. Never mind what that nonsense about us sharing ancestors. I had no bloodline to trace back. My mother had conceived me without knowing man. And my father resided in heavens above, the Lord God. The very idea that we shared blood was absurd. And yet, what if, somewhere on this earth, there are people who share my blood? Who feel what I do, who think what I think, who see the world the same as me? What if somewhere like that really does exist? That would be so very
There she is. An early summer breeze blew past, rustling vivid green leaves. With the pleasantly warm wind at my back, I entered a graveyard. Anyone who wasn't from around here would probably have thought it nothing more than a curious arrangement of stones on an abandoned plot of land, though. No one knew the names of most of those buried here, and they'd probably died without anyone by their sides. In death, though, they finally found themselves with someone to give them attention, to show them love. Love in the form of a prayer for the repose of their souls. And on this abandoned plot of land knelt its de facto caretaker, a young girl, and the only person who paid the dead who laid here any mind. She's too deep in prayer. I guess I'll have to wait. It had been a little under 2.5 years since I had rescued Morgana from the Lord's Manor. Much to my chagrin, she was still far from anything that could be described as opening up, but she wasn't quite as distant as before, from my perspective at least. She had stopped calling the girls at the brothel vile and impure, and she was even somewhat conversational. Sometimes, it seemed to me her trauma had loosened its grip on her, if only a little. Of course, she had a tendency to be on the, brutally blunt side, which became more obvious as she started talking more. And I felt like the brutal part was getting more prominent every day. Though I suppose it was a good sign. Better than her refusing to interact at all, at least. Probably. She had also, most notably, begun showing signs of independence. Burying and sending off the dead who had no family or loved ones to do it for them was one such activity she had taken on. Living in the slums, it was hardly uncommon to see corpses abandoned in alleyways or on the side of the road. Generally speaking, they would have been tossed off into a ditch somewhere out of the way to rot. But over the past couple of years, that had stopped happening. Because Morgana had taken it on herself to give them proper burials and a gravestone. Nothing fancy, just a plain slab of rock to mark the grave, but it certainly seemed much more respectable than the alternative. Every day, she came out to the graveyard to pray for the departed. She had always seemed a bit abnormally pious, but there was something almost frightening about her dedication to the task. She was only 9 years old at the time of the slave revolt, which made her 11 now. And rather than play with other children her age, she collected abandoned corpses in the slums and brought them here to bury and pray for. Abnormal didn't even begin to describe it. Some time ago I asked her, "Why don't you go out and play like the other children?" To which she calmly responded, "I could not possibly waste my time idly engaging in worldly recreation." I knew that God was the most important figure in her life, but it still seemed excessive. Not even a convent was that draconian. I made numerous attempts to warm her up, but they all fell flat. Nothing I said seemed to make it through the heavy wall she had built around herself. And that was how Morgana acted around me and the girls at the brothel, those closest to her. The rest of the town could hardly get within shouting distance before being shut out. Although it wasn't like they tried either. Most everyone else actively distanced themselves from her. On some level, they appreciated her taking care of the bodies that showed up, but ultimately, to them she was little more than a spider that captured more dangerous insects begrudgingly, left to its own devices. Hardly anyone found her pleasant, and they didn't hide it either. But not just because of her choice in hobbies. The biggest factor was, of course,
May your soul find eternal peace.
the disquieting marks covering her face. You all done?
I didn't realize you were there.
Been here for a little while now. You should really pay more attention to your surroundings. This isn't exactly the safest area.
Why bother? No one is going to do anything to me.
Maybe not now, but a few years down the line, that's a whole other story. You should get in the habit early. You're a growing girl, and your face could very well be better by then, too. Never mind the fact that there are people out there who will take anything as long as it's got girl parts. What if one of them decides to target you?
Appalling.
Aren't they? Which is why you should be a little more careful.
You're an appalling man.
Why am I appalling?
Because a thought crossed your mind.
It did not. I'm just saying, there are people out there who think like that, and you need to look out for yourself.
The fact you would say that at all is appalling.
I'm just looking out for you.
More defensive. Try again, James. James?
Did that not register?
Yeah, just trying to say...
Did the stream freeze?
No, we're still here. I'm just
I can still hear things.
I'm just giving some directions.
I do too, but I also don't hear Lenny.
What?
Oh no. I just had to say
Oh,
something.
no.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Uh-oh.
Well, while the stream is paused, I can at least voice my opinion, which is, bitch, I've been in these streets. I've seen crazy shit, Morgana.
Sorry,
She's
I was
so
muted all the
naive.
time, didn't know that. Anyway, I was trying to say to you, just be more defensive as Jacopo.
Okay,
Try again.
I'm just looking out for you.
Something more energy like, I'm just looking out for you!
Okay. I'm just looking out for you!
Good.
Oh Lord, may this sinful man be cast down to hell where he belongs.
Jeez. You know no mercy, do you? I feel like you treat those corpses nicer than you do me.
You'd be correct. If you want me to be nicer to you, go die.
The girl has got no mercy. Anyway, if you're done praying, get over here. It's ointment time.
How many times must I tell you? You're wasting your time.
Don't be such a pessimist. Rome wasn't built in a day, and there are still other ointments we haven't tried.
I'm not being pessimistic. I just...
Then unless you want to stay looking like that, what do you have to lose? Now, come on. Off with the hood.
You are a very stubborn man.
Pot. Kettle. Call me whatever you want. Nothing you can say will bother me in the slightest.
I loathe you.
What?
You were saying?
You're kidding, right?
Partially.
You little...
I thought you were going to apply the ointment. What are you waiting for?
I sighed and gave her a little glower, then scooped up some ointment with my fingers. Morgana angled her face toward the door, closed her eyes, and waited for me to begin. There was an element within the gang that gave me a flack for all the time I spent looking after her and caring for Morgana. Well, it was mostly just aggression, actually. If I were you, I would have tossed that ungrateful brat out on her ass years ago. Would be another story if she were a looker, of course. And to a degree, I understand where he was coming from. I certainly would have appreciated the little gratitude. On the other hand, all the time I spent with her, even if it was largely being verbally abused, allowed me to notice the more subtle changes in her mannerisms. And seeing that growth, however small, was one of the things that motivated me to keep at it. For example, a year ago, whenever I went to make physical contact with her, I would have to verbally reassure her I had no intention to do her any harm, or she was likely to start shouting. And even if she didn't, she would sit there the whole time I applied ointment, incredibly stiff. Now, she was more relaxed. I could even sense a sort of trust emanating from within her as my fingers rubbed against her skin. It wasn't my imagination. At least, I didn't think it was. It was something only perceptible through the act of making direct physical contact. That said, she is still borderline inscrutable. As I massaged the ointment into her skin, I traced the outline of her face with the flat of my thumb. The vast majority of her face was discolored, and in places, patches had festered and fallen off. The skin at the corners of her lips was shriveled and curled up, which I could only imagine was fairly painful. It was rough and uneven, hardly a pleasant sensation, and a far cry from the clean, smooth skin most girls her age would have. Maybe she's right. You'd think it would show some sign of healing by now, if it were ever going to. Despite my constant insistence that she stay optimistic, it was probably me who was most disappointed, most frustrated at the complete lack of improvement. The ointment wasn't cheap, to be sure, but I didn't give a damn about the money. It was the sense of hopelessness that got me. That it was all for nothing. Back when we first took her in, Maria had suggested the marks on Morgana's face might be a manifestation of something psychological or emotional. And I was beginning to think she was right. That wasn't going to stop me from trying, though. This was the only thing I could think of to do for her. I wonder, what'll she look like when she's all healed? Maybe she'll smile for once. I'd like to see that someday.
Hello? Is anyone in there?
You need something? Oh, sorry. I got lost in my thoughts. I didn't realize I had stopped.
Lost in your thoughts? That sounds positively dreadful.
What's that supposed to mean? I was just thinking about what you...
What?
Never mind. Finishing that's just begging for another round of derision.
That's not why I wanted to get your attention either way. What happened there?
Where?
Your arm. It's cut.
Morgana pointed to a gash peeking out from beneath my sleeve. While it wasn't a very deep wound, it was hardly a mere scratch either. Oh yeah, that's, you know.
I decidedly do not know.
It's not important. Don't worry about it.
Use that on yourself.
Huh?
The ointment! Stop wasting it on my face, which is never going to heal, and use it on yourself!
No need to get worked up about it, Morgana.
I am not worked up. I am simply expressing my discontent at your foolishness.
Which, I'm pretty sure, is the definition of being worked up.
Regardless, don't use any more ointment on me. Use it on yourself. I'm sure it will appreciate it actually being useful for once.
Last I checked, medicine doesn't have feelings. Really, it's not that bad. And besides, I'm only going to get more, so what's the difference?
You're going to get more? And what are you doing that would make you say that?
Yeah, I'm,
Too sinful to admit? You're an abhorrent man.
No, I swear, it's nothing bad. You win, I'll tell you. I was hoping to keep it a secret. I'm, doing a little training.
training?
Yeah. Crime and unrest has been on the rise in the slums. Or, well, not just the slums, the city proper, too. Things were quiet for a while after the slave revolt, but the Lord suddenly imposed a major tax increase about 6 months ago, which has resulted in a significant number of people unable to afford living in the city. To put it simply, the Iron Fist is squeezing even tighter than ever. And as a result, there's been a huge influx of people into the slums. You know how tight things are already, don't you? What do you suppose happens when you have limited resources and space, and suddenly twice as many people are vying for their share? People have started trying to stake out their territory, and they're fighting hard to defend it. People are mugging and robbing each other over scraps. It's a mess.
I had no idea.
Not many thieves pick makeshift graveyards as their marks, after all. Though, in this case, I actually think your being so isolated is probably to your benefit. But in any event, me and the rest of the gang have formed a band of peacekeepers of sorts.
Peacekeepers? Is that not the city guard's job?
The guards have never given a damn about the slums. Why waste manpower on people who can't even pay their taxes? As far as the Lord and his men are concerned, we're just leeching off his land. We're damn lucky he doesn't make an active effort to chase us all out. That means it's our responsibility to protect ourselves.
I see. So you're training to use a sword as a part of this band of peacekeepers.
In short, yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting? In what way?
Give me the ointment.
Huh? I'm not done with your...
What's even left? You've done more than enough. Now give it to me.
Here.
Roll up your sleeve.
You're not going to put it on me, are you? Like I said, I don't need.
How many times have I told you the exact same thing? And how many times have you listened to me? This is payback for all the times you've refused to listen to me. You can't argue with that, can you?
No, I guess I can't.
What are you smirking about?
Nothing.
Try to keep this sort of thing to a minimum, if you would.
Huh? Why would I want to limit my training time? I need to be prepared for whatever might come our way. That madman of a lord could be scheming to send his soldiers in as we speak.
I'm sure there are others more suited for the job. You don't seem like you'd be especially adept with a blade.
Hey, don't judge my skill on my appearance. I'll have you know, I'm the second strongest member of the gang.
Oh yes, that's very reassuring.
You're on fire today, huh? Since you seem to have forgotten, I put up a damn decent fight against the Lord during the... God, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I digging up some of her most painful memories for a cheap brag? Anyway, you get the idea. I'm pretty good with a sword, so you don't need to worry about me.
I see. And out of curiosity, who's the strongest member?
Excuse me? Why would she ask me, to my face, to give her the name of the one man stronger than me?
It's not a difficult question.
Some asshole named Gratian.
Interesting. Well, I hope he remains number one, and you stay number two forever.
And why exactly would you want that? The whole reason I'm training so hard is so I can surpass Gratian. And she wants me to stay below him? Unbelievable. I get it. It's easier for you to look down on me if there's someone who can put me in my place for you.
That isn't why.
No? Well then, mind telling me why?
The strongest member of the group is the one who stands on the front lines.
What's your point? The most qualified person heads the charge, yes. I don't see anything wrong with that.
It puts them at a greater risk.
Wait. Are you concerned for my safety?
It's not you I'm concerned about. Your death will simply make life more difficult for the girls at the brothel.
Well, would you look at that? You, worried about me. I guess you even have a soft spot or two.
Oh, for heaven's sake! I already told you, that's not why I'm all done.
Thanks.
Now, I assume you're finished with your business here, so feel free to make yourself scarce.
No need to be so rude. Or do you have some ulterior motive for wanting me gone?
For one, it's impossible for the dead to rest in peace with you around.
Maybe try thinking about the living first for once. I've never really cared for how much importance people put on showing respect for the dead. It all seems so pointless to me.
Your blasphemy knows no ends, does it? When your time comes, you're going to find yourself with no one to grieve over your loss.
Fine with me. People are only worth their salt while they're alive.
And what about the afterlife?
Who's got time to think about the next life when you live in an overcrowded slum where someone might kill you one day for a couple of coins?
All the more reason to take it into consideration. The consequences of one's actions in life have on the next should serve to encourage us to always do what is right.
Not sure I buy that.
I'm done with this conversation. I don't think there's any getting through that thick skull of yours.
If I offended you, I apologize. I didn't mean to. Say, Morgana? Would you mind humming that song you're so fond of for me?
What? Where did that come from?
I'm in a good mood today. And what better way to improve a good day than with some good music?
I do not follow that line of reasoning one bit. Why should I have to sing to make you feel better?
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anyone. If you have even half a heart, you'll do this tiny little favor for me.
Yes, because trying to manipulate me is a wonderful way to make me want to do anything for you.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was mean of me. Please?
That doesn't sound very sincere. But fine, I'll do it.
Facing away from me, Morgana dropped to the grassy ground, staring off into the distance and beginning to hum. It wasn't a hymn or a requiem for the dead, but a folk song the girls at the brothel would sometimes sing. No one seemed to know who had written it, though. The lyrics were slightly vulgar, and people were supposed to clap and hoot along with the music. But Morgana only hummed the melody, leaving the rest of that out. In isolation, and sung with her voice, it became a thing of beauty. It was pure, untainted by the filthiness of the slums, unobscured by the crudeness of the people who normally sang it. In many ways, it was hard to believe they were the same song. This felt like it was hers, like it existed solely to be heard in her voice. Listening to her sing, I sprawled out on the grass. The blue sky spread out above me as far as the eye could see, and as I gazed up into it, all my problems seemed to fade away. That I lived in a dirty slum. That the Lord was digging his claws even deeper into the city. That I was in the middle of a makeshift graveyard for those who had no one else. It all just disappeared. I felt almost as though I had ascended to heaven. The first time I heard Morgana sing was, if memory served, approximately a year earlier. At the time, she was still completely walled off, much like she had been when we first brought her to the slums. She always kept her eyes on her feet, and she spoke in a soft voice, frequently pausing. She was very wary of everyone, including me. One day, I went to put ointment on her face, and she shouted, roared practically, for me not to touch her. To be honest, it was somewhat aggravating. Another, I asked about her father, and she just pointed up at the sky, saying, "He's up there." Which I took to mean he was dead, so I dropped the subject and got back to applying ointment to her. At some point, I started humming the song, which I had picked up from the girls, and upon hearing that, she told me she was quite fond of it. And then, she began singing. Immediately, I found myself entranced by her voice. Though she always spoke in soft, muffled tones, her singing voice was incredibly clear. Like I was listening to a chorus of angels. Of course, the moment I put that thought into words, it'll lose all its potency. It'll just turn into some loser's cheap pickup line. It really is something, though. If she told me her voice could raise the dead, I would be inclined to believe it. It's just that beautiful. While it was true Morgana could be difficult and wasn't the most affable, I knew that, at heart, she was a sensitive and compassionate girl. That she would come to this graveyard every day, and pray for peace for all the forgotten souls was more than enough to prove of that. Though she surrounded herself with high walls, she was probably the kindest, most loving person I knew. And that was what drew me to her. It didn't matter what anyone else said about her, how quickly they were to judge her as ugly or standoffish. I knew they were all wrong. It would be wonderful if I could just spend the rest of my days listening to her sing.
Are you asleep?
I'm awake. I was, just resting my eyes.
Oh. And I was about to accuse you of being boorish for having the audacity to ask me to sing, then fall asleep.
The fact that you were almost upset seems to suggest you want to be heard, despite how much you protested it.
No, I simply...
Oh, I've got the perfect idea. We can build a makeshift stage at the pub and have you sing for everyone.
What?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. You can wear a mask if you don't want anyone to see your face. You don't even have to get on stage if you'd rather not. You can just sing from behind a curtain. Who knows? You could end up being a big hit. Come one, come all. Hear the soothing song of an enigmatic siren.
Absolutely not.
No? Well, I think it's a pretty good idea myself. Oh, is it because you don't like taking other people's money? I wasn't planning on charging. I just thought it would be nice if more people could hear.
As I already said, absolutely not. And if you push the issue any further, I'll never sing for you again.
Noted. Forget I said anything. Seemed like a good opportunity to get her interacting with more people, but I guess not. Such a pretty voice is wasted on just me.
What? You look like you have something else to say.
Nope. Not a thing. Well, I'm not going to force her if she's opposed to it. Say, Morgana. There's something I've been wondering for a while now. You've never actually called me by my name, have you?
And where did that come from?
I've just been thinking about it, and I can't recall a single time you've done it in the more than 2 years we've known each other. Don't tell me you've forgotten my name. Are you kidding me?
I remember it, yes.
I don't like the emphasis on remember.
Is it really that big of a deal? There's rarely ever anyone else around, so it's not like you don't know when I'm talking to you. Besides, I'm planning to leave when I get older. So I don't see much point in getting very attached to anyone.
Do you have a destination in mind?
Not yet.
Why are you thinking so far ahead, then? You're 11 years old. You've still got a few years before you're old enough to be independent. And you're going to spend that whole time keeping everyone at arm's length? I just think maybe it's about time you took down some of those walls. Might take a little weight off your shoulders in the process. I'm not going to say you have to, though. Anyway, I should head out. I've got work to do. Try not to stay out here too late, okay?
I'll be leaving as soon as you're gone.
I could walk you back then.
I can make it fine on my own, thank you.
As you wish. Hey, Morgana?
I thought you were leaving.
One day, I'll show you the world.
Do you ever get tired of saying that?
You've got to think big. Dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it day to day is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined to this tiny little corner of the world.
We'll try not to let your dreams grow so big they crush you.
I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets to be overwhelming.
Why would I be there?
Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you, you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good idea, huh?
I don't need to see the world. All I want is...
Huh? What was that?
nothing.
Now I'm even more curious.
It's nothing, really. Now go on. Shoo.
Fine, fine. See you later.
Doesn't he ever get tired of chasing me down? Day after day, I thought as I watched him walk off. Quite honestly, I didn't understand that man one bit. Apparently, a lot of people respected him, and he seemed to have a fairly large social circle as well. I couldn't fathom why someone like him would go out of his way to spend time with me. It wasn't for lack of people to talk to, and it certainly wasn't because we got along. Never mind my face, which couldn't be pleasant for anyone to be subjected to for any amount of time. Would he go so far out of simple pity? Hopefully he doesn't have ulterior motives.
At long last, your face is healed. I spent enough money on you to build a house, and you're going to pay me back tenfold. Now go forth, Morgana. Work! Be the greatest whore this brothel has ever seen!
He's probably not that devious. Enough foolish speculation. It's going to start getting dark soon. I should head back. The brothel is always rather quiet at this time of day. The girls worked at night, so they're generally asleep while the sun was out. And it was my job to take care of the cleaning, laundry, and preparing meals while they rested. When I first arrived here, everything seemed so filthy. And while I still felt that way to a degree, nights, when they were open for business, were still miserable. I wasn't quite so prejudiced against the girls themselves anymore. They were kind to me, treated me like a sister. Or tried to, at least. I kept them at a distance, though. I didn't so overtly spurn them as I had before, but as the holy daughter of God, I could not form familial relationships with prostitutes. I could not delight in being pampered by them. My unwillingness to open up probably disheartened them, but they still did not throw me out or lash back at me for it. And not one made any remarks about my face. As prostitutes, they frequently caught all sorts of diseases. In my more than 2 years here, several had even passed away. One had gotten hives all over her body, transforming from fairly pretty to absolutely hideous in only a few days' time. And they had seen considerably more than me, so they had no reason to commit on a girl with a little flesh missing from her face. which wasn't to say everyone was sympathetic for me. I should get a fire started. I had taken care of most of the cleaning before leaving for the cemetery, so my next task was preparing food for the day. Supplies had been scant of late, which meant today I was making yet another watery vegetable soup. Oh, right. He mentioned crime is on the rise. That would explain the trouble getting supplies. And here I am, completely oblivious to what's going on outside. From time to time, I would catch one of our girls saying, often with an uncomfortable laugh, "She's still the same old Morgana." But personally, I felt as though I had changed quite a bit since arriving here. No longer being instrumentally disgusted by prostitutes with big enough but even more significantly. How pathetic. I'd become astutely aware of how much I was receiving and of others' generosity. Before coming here, the thought would never even occur to me. I was always the giver of generosity. The saint everyone, man, woman, and child alike, came to for help. I hadn't told anyone what I was, though, I didn't get any of that special treatment. And perhaps that was a part of what allowed me to change. Of course, because I kept all that tightly locked up inside, the only thing people saw was an aloof little girl. Finally, the coal is lit. Now to add tinder.
Kyle.
Knock, knock!
What?
Knock, knock, knock!
Huh? What? Who's that? And who shouts knock knock instead of knocking? Everyone else is asleep, so I can't just hope for someone else to deal with it. But someone's going to wake up eventually if she keeps yelling. But everyone's exhausted and they need their rest.
Knock, knock, knock!
Oh, for heaven's sake, quiet down out there!
Ah, finally someone. Ah!
What? What are you screaming for?
Are you okay?
Why wouldn't I be? I'm rather more concerned about you. Myself.
Your face! Look at your face!
Right. My face. It's just...
I heard they treated the girls good here. You can't be, what, maybe 10 years old? And look at you!
Huh?
Unbelievable! What kind of terrible man would... What do I say for the X's here?
What kind of terrible man would fuck a little girl?
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Unbelievable. What kind of terrible man would fuck a little girl like you and then make you suck his cock and give you all his nasty diseases?
Good.
Does she think I'm a prostitute? Hold on, please. You're jumping to conclusions.
Don't you worry. You've got a friend in me.
No, that's not what...
There's still hope. Tomorrow will be a better day.
I'm not...
Because of a disease, then?
Yes, thank you. Finally. No one gave me any disease.
You're being tortured!
What?
Now that I get a closer look at you, your hands are all torn up too. Do they really bust out the whip that often here?
No one would.
Ugh, I can't believe my eyes! Who would do this to such a little girl?
Excuse me.
I'll have to give the man in charge a stern talking to. It's his job to protect his girls.
Excuse me.
Knock, knock, knock!
Shut up and listen to me!
Ouch!
I didn't do that. Oh, Father, I pray for your forgiveness, for I've disobeyed your teachings and raised my hand against my fellow man.
Nothing for me? The one who actually got kicked?
Before you do anything, could you perhaps introduce yourself?
That's what I get for jumping to conclusions. I've always had this super bad habit of letting my imagination run wild, you see. As soon as I saw you, it was like dark, dank dungeons. A little girl hung upside down, buck naked, a big, smirking, shirtless man holding a cat o' nine tails. The girl's screams echoing on the cold stone. Will she live to see another day? That sort of thing. Going too. Next, a dashing young man appears to rescue the girl, but he's secretly.
Shut your mouth for me, would ya?
Aye, aye.
You're allowed to breathe. Okay, so, what was your name?
Ceren, spelled Ceren. That's ja, like jester, and ran, like ransom.
Shut your mouth for me, would you? But you are allowed to breathe!
I...
Oh my god. God, it's way too early for this shit! What is it, like, noon? 1?
Should I have not let her in?
Oh, nah, you're fine. I've known Regain a new girl for a few days now. Well, I sure wasn't expecting this. You don't have to keep your mouth shut permanently. If you have something to say, spit it out.
So this is the part where I get fired before I even start?
Oh my god. Tell me something, would you? Do you act like that around your clients?
What? Is there something wrong with how I act?
Oh, God. Moving on. Stand right there for me. And for the love of all that is holy, hold still.
Yes, sir. So, what you gonna do?
Just hush and hold still.
You're staring holes through me.
Just a little more.
You're getting real up close and personal there.
Need to make sure you're up to par.
Par with what?
Do you know where you are?
Is this necessary? Hello?
All right, at ease.
Like you're commanding her, like you command a soldier.
Okay. All right, at ease. You pass. You're hired. No.
Really? Sweet! So what was all that about?
You gotta have an exam first, obviously.
I see.
I'll tell you this, though. If you weren't cute as all hell, I'd thrown you right out on your ass.
Oh, am I really that cute? Oh, you're making me blush.
You realize that wasn't a compliment, right? Anyway, you start work tomorrow. Today, familiarize yourself with the rules and layout of the place.
Aye, aye, ma'am.
Anna, can I ask you to show her around?
What? All right.
Thanks a bunch. She's your problem now.
Much obliged.
I'm already beginning to regret this.
You're not the one
Talk
who
about
hired
culture
her.
shock, though. I've never seen a place with a woman manager.
Oh, yeah. I'm not the manager. Just an old hat.
So where's the big boss hiding then?
No boss here. Just us girls.
What? You don't have a manager? Really?
Nope. You'll find this is more like a community than anything. A bunch of girls with nowhere else to go who banded together and built the place up. And it's been going like that for more than a decade now. From what I've been told, it started as just a little shack, didn't even have proper flooring. By the time I showed up, the facilities were a little nicer. The roof still leaked like a bitch though, and we didn't have nearly as many rooms set up as we do now. But we worked our tails off over the years, scrounging together the money and time to patch it up and grow it into what you see now.
Huh. Neato.
Of course, not having someone specifically in charge of running the place does come with its own set of challenges.
Does it? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Everyone gets to do their own thing.
It's not that simple, unfortunately. Makes it more difficult to iron things out with the community and other businesses when trouble arises. And of course, it means we have no one financing us. So every day is a struggle to make it to the next. Any day could be our last. It could all come crashing down. Toss out any illusions of job security.
Not so neato. I'm still super duper impressed though. Major props. You guys have made this one heck of a place for the slums.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll take that, I guess.
You don't sound very happy about it.
Well, I mean, pretty much everyone who founded this place is dead now. It's one of the risks of the job. You work your ass off just to add another day and end up taking 3 off in the process. So, once you've got enough to do whatever it is you need to do, you walk out that door and never come back. Got it? Whether you've got debt to pay off or friends or family who need a little extra money, once you're done, be done.
You're not gonna ask what I need the money for?
If a girl looks like trouble, I'll talk to her and have some guys look into it. But you don't strike me as a type. If you're up to no good, I feel like it'd be pretty obvious. Besides, I've been in this business long enough to know it's not at the top of most girls' dream job lists. Most of us have been through some nasty shit, and we don't come here to have other people digging around through it.
Boss?
Huh? Boss? What?
You're sweet, thoughtful, and heck of a boss, so I'm gonna call you boss. It's perfect.
I thought I told you we don't have a boss here?
Boss!
Oh my gosh, you're like a little sister. Well, no harm in you taking a liking to me, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna go crash again. Morgana can answer any questions you've got.
Aye.
Also, Any more hollering while I'm trying to sleep, and I'll rip that pretty little head off your shoulders and shove it between your legs. Got it?
Yes, boss.
Good girl.
All right, Morgana, lead the way.
Sure. Before we go, though, I have a question. Are you incapable of speaking like a human being?
What do you mean?
Does it really require an explanation?
Oh, I get it. We're friends now, so I don't have to talk so stiff-like.
You call that stiff?
Yeah, why? Though to tell you the truth, I've kind of forgotten how to talk casual. Guess that's just what happens when everyone around you is a big cheese. I'm very respectful of my seniors, I'll have you know.
This conversation is going nowhere, so let's go.
Aye. So you got here a couple of years back? Neat. You gonna start working here once your face all clears up?
I have no intention of becoming a prostitute, no. And Maria has already said that she'll respect that. Instead, I am tasked with other chores, such as cooking and cleaning, in order to earn my keep.
Oh, huh. Maria's even more generous than I thought.
Generous?
Most places wouldn't look after a sick girl for that long. Let alone give her a room of her own and buy her ointment.
The ointment is his doing, technically speaking, but I suppose she's right. You're right. I've begun to feel the same way recently. Taking care of a few chores cannot possibly counterbalance the burden my being here places on everyone else. They would surely all be better off without me.
What? That's not what I meant at all. Sure, maybe it doesn't balance out. They're letting you stay here out of the kindness of their hearts. But that don't mean you'd be better off elsewhere. That you're not pulling your own weight.
You've been here for all of, what, an hour? How can you possibly know that?
Just look at this place. It's better looking than a lot of places outside the slums. And it's you who's been keeping it so clean, Morgana. The last place I was at, it was dirtier than a bear's bunghole. But this is like heaven compared to that. Without you around, Morgana, the girls wouldn't be able to sleep so comfortably.
Perhaps.
Aw, are you blushing? You're blushing, aren't you? It's nothing to be ashamed of. You can even jump into my arms if you want.
You know, you're incredibly obnoxious.
My heart.
For a second there, she almost had me feeling a little bit better about myself. But that went right out the window.
So you came here a couple years back. That would have been right around when the Lord's slaves revolted, yeah?
Yes, right about then.
I wish I could have been there for it. I bet it was all sorts of crazy.
You mean you weren't around when it happened?
Nope. I wasn't in these parts till about a year or so ago. So I've only heard the stories. Back when the uprising happened, I wasn't even in this country. I was way, way far away.
I see. So you only moved here recently then?
No, I didn't move. I was kidnapped.
What?
I'm a bit of an airhead if you haven't noticed. One day I was just suddenly taken captive and then I got sold off.
What? What? Really?
Yep.
She was taken captive and sold off? I didn't mishear her, did I? You talk about it like it's just a part of your daily routine.
Well, it is the second time it's happened.
It is?
Okay, back to the tour then, shall we?
What? That raises even more questions.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about what I want to call you, Morgana.
What you want to call me? Is that not what my name is for?
Nicknames! Step one to making friends, duh. So from now on, I'm gonna call you Morgs. M-O-R-G-S. And with a hard G, not a soft one. Just so there's no confusion.
Thank you. I would never have figured it out without your help.
Morgs!
Can you not call me that? It rather gets on my nerves.
You can call me Jerry.
You can't be serious. Good heavens, I cannot keep up with this girl. Anyway, that about covers it. All that's left to show you is the storeroom.
Weren't we just there?
Yes, but there's a second one. Below us.
Below the floor?
I made my way to the corner of the room, crouching down and pulling up one of the floorboards. From beneath it appeared a staircase leading downward.
Ooh, underground storage. Nice and cool to keep things fresh, too.
This room serves a second purpose, though.
Oh?
It's also a shelter for us to hide in should any sort of trouble arise.
Oh, huh.
Fortunately, it has not yet been used for that purpose. But we are not in the safest area, so we must be prepared for anything.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Nice a place as this is, I guess it is still in the slums.
Indeed.
Here's hoping we don't ever have to use it.
Indeed.
So that's everything then? I've seen the whole place?
Yes, that's everything. Or I suppose I should show you the kitchen as...
What's up?
I completely forgot I was trying to start a fire! Ugh. I scrambled back to the kitchen, but as I'd feared, it was far too late. The coals were long since dead. All that work for nothing.
Looks like you've got a bit of an airheaded side too, Morgs.
And who do you think is to blame for that?
It's alright, we can get it lit together.
Together? This is all your responsibility! As the sun began to set and meal preparations were complete, the girls started to emerge from their rooms, a bustle forming in and around the kitchen. Some sluggishly rubbed the sleep from their eyes, while others complained about clients. Some took a moment for me to recognize in their casual clothes, sans makeup. Off the job, and them being themselves, they looked less like prostitutes and more like just ordinary girls. There were around 10 girls who actually stayed at the brothel, and another 10 or so who came in to work from outside. It was a fairly large-scale operation, at least to my eyes. Though there were a couple other smaller brothels in the slums, this was the one everyone directed anyone interested to first. Girls with nowhere else to go stayed here, and the girls who did have a place to go back to stayed there. No one actually owned their own homes, though. They either lived with a man or shared a place with a few other girls. None of them had husbands or children. Supposedly, there were those who did this line of work, but it was rather uncommon. I scooped out the servings of soup from the cauldron sitting over the fire, dishing it out to girls as they came by. No one gave me any unpleasant looks at the sight of my face. They said good morning and smiled. Just like any other day. I whispered a greeting to each of them in turn. But given how noisy the kitchen was, it was unlikely any of them heard it.
Oh boy, it sure is bouncing in here. I like me a place with some energy.
I'm glad to hear that. It didn't take long for Ceren to start hitting it off with the other prostitutes. Her perky disposition was undeniably overdone, but everyone seemed to enjoy the positive attention she was giving them well enough. In almost no time at all, the girls were fawning over her. She's like a puppy. Once everyone had their food, they settled into their individual mealtime activities. The bland, watery soup was expectedly unpopular, even though everyone knew there was nothing that could be done about it. "This again?" several of them murmured, to which Maria stood up and chastised them, saying,
You should be grateful you've got anything to eat at all.
Cristina?
No, I know.
And Morgana worked her butt off to make it for you. You go, Mother Maria. It's rude to complain.
I'm sorry, really, I am. Ain't her cooking I'm complaining about. You know that, right? Don't you, Morgana?
"It doesn't bother me. And you're perfectly justified in being displeased. It's hardly nutritious enough to get you throughout the day."
True enough, I guess. Would be great if we could get something with a little more oomph. Like a big old slab of meat.
I love. I'm just kidding, sorry. Okay. Just thinking about it has me drooling. Meat! Meat! Bring on the meat!
Meat dinner.
Save that drool for work, because that's the only meat you'll get here.
I wonder, maybe I can pretend this root-looking thing is meat and I'll actually taste like it. Meat! From the depths I summon thee! Meat! Nope, still not meat.
No shit, genius!
Meat.
You don't like meat, Morix? Now, you won't grow up to be a big and strong if you're such a picky eater.
I'm not picky about what I eat, no. All sustenance is a gift from God to man. I would never refuse his.
Well, well. Is the meat not to your liking then, Saint? Hear that, slave? The Saint says your brother tastes so bad, it makes her wretch.
You all right, Morix? You're super pale.
I'm just fine. It's been more than 2 years. I still can't get that taste out of my mouth. No matter how hard I try to forget it. Sometimes I'm awake. And sometimes it's an awful nightmare.
If you're not feeling good, maybe you should lay down.
I'm fine, really.
You sure?
Maybe meat's out of the question, but some bread would sure be nice, at least. God, yes, bread. Bet supplies have been so scarce lately. All the damn Lord's fault. Not that a bunch of whores can do fuck all about it.
Is the Lord really that bad of a guy?
Oh, right. You haven't been here very long. You don't know what he's like. Yes, he is a terrible man. He oppresses his people and rejects the word of God. He's a cruel, heartless, barbaric madman. He deserves the strictest of judgments.
So does everyone in the city hate him then?
I doubt you'll find a single person who thinks otherwise.
Huh. Well, I hope he stops being the Lord soon then.
What do you mean?
I just mean it'd be nice if someone else could take over for him. Then he could just be a regular old guy. He wouldn't have to worry about running a city and stuff. Everyone wins!
It would be nice, yes, but...
Wouldn't it? Pretty dang brilliant, aren't I?
Even I know it's not that simple, and I'm only 11. How would a bunch of slum dwellers even begin to instate a new lord? Does she even think before speaking?
James.
Well, damn. I was hoping to make it before breakfast time.